So well, dear ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to start session number 3, transport and logistics, including food and agriculture related infrastructure. This session will see into an important issue of logistics and agriculture are an important part of a local community as it contributes to the food supply and provides economic as well as environmental impacts. For agricultural operations to function and continue, they require support systems and facilities to remain viable. This infrastructure in some cases can be specific to agriculture and in others used by the public as well. Please welcome on our stage Moderator of this session, Chief Executive Officer of Agricultural and Rural Development Bank, His Excellency Kao Thach. Please welcome. Good afternoon, a warm welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great honor to be a moderator today, but by the time is running out, so I would like to introduce myself. My name is Kao Thach, is the CEO of the Agricultural and Rural Development Bank, and I'm here today. I would like to thank the bank and the mayor of Amity for the convincing this meeting today. So without further more saying, I would like to call our speaker now to the stage. First, I would like to introduce Mr. Ruslan Dalenov, the Vice Chairman of the Management Board, Eurasian Bank, Development Bank. Please come to the stage. Our second speaker is H.E Montejo, the Chief Risk Officer, Card SME Bank, and the card mutually reinforcing institution in the Philippines. Please come to the stage. The third one, I would like to invite Mr. Oleg Julius Kobiakov, Director of Food and Agriculture Organization, United Nations Liaison Office, Russian Federation. Please. Next speaker is Mr. Martin Naegele from Office of Vice President Investment Operation, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIM. Last one that I would like to introduce is Mr. Temujin Surans, Director General of Asset and Liability Management Department at the Development Bank of Mongolia. So today's discussion is on the transport and logistics, including food and agriculture-related infrastructure. So transport, logistics play a very important role for the economic development, local community, rural economy, household living standard, etc. Infrastructure and logistics can foster every sector development, especially in agriculture and food safety, as well as the environment impact. Without the infrastructure, logistics, agriculture, food supply chain will be a big issue, which lead to the big challenge for the agriculture development and the food supply chain as well as food security. So furthermore, I would like to ask Mr. Ruslan to do the presentation or maybe share some thought or history of your organization, please. I think this switch is over there. And the organizer, please with the switch.
That's okay. Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, dear participants, it's a great pleasure to see all of you in the beautiful city of Almaty. The EDB is a leading multilateral development bank in Eurasia. The bank promotes the development of its member economies and the region as a whole. Over 17 years of operation, we have implemented 276 projects, resulting in a cumulative investment portfolio of $14 billion. The risks associated with global food security are intensifying. Humanity faces a growing possibility of failing to meet UN goals for ending hunger. Currently, approximately 1 billion people globally suffer from hunger and malnutrition. In the coming decades, water, energy, and climate change will be the primary challenges. 40% of the population experiences a shortage of drinking water, and food security is further impacted by energy shortages and high transport costs. We know how to address these challenges. The bank initiated 3 key investment mega projects to these: the Eurasian Transport Network, the Eurasian Commodity Distribution Network, and the Central Asian Water and Energy Complex. These areas are instrumental in fostering sustainable economic growth. The potential impact of these projects are immense. They hold the capacity to double irrigation, alleviate water scarcity by 40%, and enhance transport infrastructure. Transport infrastructure, yes, represents the first change we face. Global cargo turnover is on a steady rise, with figures increasing from 6 billion tons in 2000 to a projected twofold growth by 2027. Loss of food products during transportation is estimated at 30%. Transport companies experience escalating costs annually due to inadequate transport infrastructure. There is a great need to expand existing export routes and develop new ones. Our response to the first challenge is the Eurasian Transport Network. The Eurasian region possesses immense transit potential, with only half of it currently being utilized. Realizing this potential necessitates collaborative efforts among Eurasian countries. Land transport offers advantages over maritime transport, including delivery times that are half as long as compared to sea routes via the Suez Canal. Over the past decade, container cargo in transit has seen a 100-fold increase. The connection of existing and prospective corridors will allow for a further surge in freight traffic. The bank has identified potential project for a total of $100 billion. We will invest nearly $2 billion in transport projects over 5 years. We have already completed several projects, for example, the construction of the Big Almaty Ring Road, the bank's contribution of $135 million. Another project is the Central Ring Road, with the bank's investment amounting to $318 million. We are currently considering several future projects, including the construction of a 270 kilometers Ayagos-Bakhty railway line to the border with China. The new infrastructure will increase freight traffic by 20 million tons per year. The next challenge after transport is water and energy. The demand for water is steadily increasing. The population is growing and is projected to rise by 17% by the early 2030s. Crop production is expected to grow by 45% and water consumption by 10% by 2030. Energy demand in Central Asia will increase by 34%, On the other hand, greenhouse gas emission must be reduced by 16% by 2030. For this reason, solar and hydropower plants will become increasingly important. Overall water stress for some Central Asian regions, countries will triple by 2040. Central Asia possesses the potential not only to confront the challenges of the upcoming decade, but also to establish a foundation for a long-term economic development. We see that the response lies in the first place in the development of hydropower and other renewables. The untapped hydropower potential of Central Asia is 77%. Secondly, the region could improve water efficiency. State-of-the-art water-saving technologies could reduce water consumption by half. Additionally, regulating river flows could help mitigate water shortages by 40% in low water years. In total, we have identified potential projects with a combined value of $51.4 billion. This includes 22 combined heat and power plants, 34 hydropower plants, the reconstruction of the reclamation system. The bank plans to invest a minimum of $400 million in the upcoming years. The bank is already financing projects in the water and energy sector in Central Asia. This year we conducted two comprehensive studies in this field. We are already financing the preparation of feasibility studies for several promising hydropower facilities. This year the bank will finance the reconstruction of the 100 megawatt Kulanak hydropower plant in Kyrgyzstan, the reconstruction of Almaty thermal power plant number 3 in Kazakhstan, and the reconstruction of the Astrakhan-Mangyshlak main water pipeline also in Kazakhstan. The potential for agricultural development in the region is immense. Agricultural land is projected to expand by over 10%, bringing higher yields. The region's proximity to market with a population over 3 billion opens up opportunities to boost food exports. This will require trade infrastructure, and this is the third challenge. Many cross-border trade processes, such as customs clearance and product certification, require automation. This is a pressing need for modernization. The region will also need to construct additional storage facilities capable of accommodating 33 million tons of agricultural produce. The Eurasian Commodity Distribution Network is a system that interconnects farmers, storage facilities, retailers, transport companies, and transport infrastructure. This necessitates the establishment of a shared digital system. Digital system will significantly enhance the efficiency and transparency of the food market. The digital platform will benefit all its participants. Farmers will be able to find buyers and place their produce in warehouses, while retailers will gain the ability to locate goods entered into smart contracts and streamline logistics. State authorities will benefit from automated and paperless custom control and reliable statistics. Consumers can expect stable supplies and stable prices. The slide represents our estimations of the effects of the bank's key investment projects. Employment will increase by 1.5 percentage points and trade by 30%. The GDP of Central Asian countries can grow by an additional 1.5%. These are the main challenges and our three responses to them. That are the bank's three key investment mega projects. For the initial 5-year phase, the total financing requirements is projected at $20 billion. The bank is ready to invest $3 billion. Of course, we will need to prioritize projects, secure investors, and attract financial institutions. The bank is preparing for a comprehensive project discussion with government, authorities, and businesses in Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Armenia, Kazakhstan. This will be a road show involving Central Asian countries. We will represent our projects and the bank's capabilities and will identify specific projects, outline the amount of technical assistance required, and explore potential sources of funding. We therefore invite foreign participants, development banks, and international organizations to join this collaborative effort. This could be in the form of co-financing, technical assistance, joint research, or linking existing projects with the initiatives of the Eurasian Development Bank. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ruslan. Actually, I forgot to say the rule that each speaker should have 10 minutes each to present, but you just passed a little bit, no problem with that. So thank you very much for sharing all information with us today. It seems that Eurasian Development Bank has done a lot of projects in this area, especially in Almaty city. I saw that you also finance the ring road and the railway, especially the infrastructure as well. So next, please, I would like to invite Mr. Jerry Montejo to present and share perspective on the transport, logistics, including food, culture, related infrastructure. The floor is yours. Please, Jerry.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Moderator. First, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our host, ADPF, and the Eurasian Development Bank for inviting us here. It's a great honor and opportunity to represent our bank, our institution, to attend such a prestigious event like this. So while waiting for the presentation, our bank belongs to a group, no? It's Center for Agriculture and Rural Development, mutually reinforcing institution. Later on, I'll be discussing one by one those institutions and how they collaborate with each other in order to attain a common goal. Right? Okay, so, slide please. So for the past 37 years, Center for Agricultural and Rural Development, mutually reinforcing institution, has been and still are in the business of poverty eradication, and continuously finding innovative, sustainable, and accessible ways of serving our clients, especially those on the countryside or the rural MSMEs. Started out in 1986 with CARD Inc., or Center for Agriculture and Rural Development Incorporated, which is a social and development foundation providing microloans to landless housewives, initially amounting of about minimum of $100 to $200, which will be payable in a weekly term. Hoping that gradually they will grow into SMEs as they venture through their house-based or backyard businesses. Entrepreneurial skill might not be inherent, but CARD MRI believes that poverty will drive these housewives to strive at their best to succeed and how they bring up their families through their roles as moms. To further promote inclusive growth and put our clients to mainstream economy, CARD Bank, MRI Rizal Bank were established. And so our members could have the opportunity to have their own bank accounts and enjoy all banking products and services in banks owned and led by the members themselves. Okay? And as they grow, their micro businesses, they started to require higher capital. Unfortunately, this leads them to go to the loan sharks, which charges them higher interest rates that eats up their capital. And so CARD SME Bank, a thrift bank, was established to meet their financing needs. CARD MRI is composed of 25 mutually reinforcing institutions working hand in hand to achieve common goal to eradicate poverty. To ensure better progress of our clients, CARD MRI established insurance companies as a safety net to mitigate the financial shocks brought about by the impact of the death of family members, health and medical needs, and severe calamities that may affect our clients' livelihood. We also believe that education is one of the potent weapons to combat poverty, so we established our own school with Card MRI Development Institute, or the CMDI, which equipped not only our personnel, but also our clients' children, as well as our priority enrollees, and some were also given scholarship grants. Then Card MRI Business Development Foundation was also established, and the Likhaninay, or the Mother's Creation, were also established to provide technical assistance, product development, and marketing channel to our clients. And as we gear towards digitization and automation, information technology companies were also established through CMIT, FDSAP, and FDSI. Our support institutions such as Boticard or Card Pharmacy, Card Astro as the producer of the MRI cosmetics and basic household product, Kiosk Tour, which facilitates travel requirements and educational tours for both staff and clients, and Card MRI Publishing for promotional and printing requirements of the institutions. Okay. So about Card SME Bank, this was established in 2011. It supports the vision of Card MRI by building a sustainable and capacity-building financial institution by providing integrated financial and capacity-building banking products and services to MSMEs, upholding the high standard of financial, human, and institutional resources. We are strategically present in different key areas all over the country and still growing along with our micro and SME clients. We are now serving about 1.2 million clients with a total loan portfolio of about 6.8 million pesos or $126 million. We have 293 branch-like units that assure accessibility of our services right at their doorstep of our clients, apart from our 39 banks scattered across the country. Our microloans products consist of several products on different purposes, like the SICAP loan, their farming tools and supplies. We also have microloans for health and life insurance. For SME loan product, we provide working capital loan for inventory build-up and bridging receivables, investment loan for business fixed asset acquisitions such as land, building, machineries, and delivery vehicles. We also offer SME agri loans specially designed to match the periodic cash flow of our SME agri client. They can use also the fund to either working capital requirements such as farm input, labor costs, or other farm supplies, or fixed asset acquisitions such as building for livestock and production, pre- and post-harvest, fuel-efficient machinery such as farm tractors, harvesters, and other livestock machineries. It's a bit of a challenge for us as a bank to make or create a value chain impact on our financing, since lending alone cannot assure business success due to several challenges such as farm gate price volatility, middlemen that dictates the price, severe weather conditions, and pests and others that affects the production of our agri clients. We have to equip our clients through capacity building activities, support the whole agri ecosystem by creating a financing value chain. Good thing that Agri Law was repealed by Republic Act 11901 and was later on guided by the BSP Circular 1159, because previously this alone focuses on the agrarian reform beneficiaries and the agri-producers. But by the law, agricultural fisheries and rural development financing, which broaden the scope of rural agri MSME financing, which is more inclusive and mandated. So this will at least force the banking institutions to provide 25% of their loanable funds to these sectors. Some of our initiatives right now on the capacity building side is the credit with education, when it is being delivered weekly through center meetings of our micro clients. They gathered on their areas, and our account officers deliver this modular topics that include several subjects, like, for example, how they grow their business, their personal development, and also the agri-development. Also, for the SME loans, we also have this Negosyo Talk series, or this is a business session caravan, which is being participated by our SME clients from our different branches. It is conducted by both virtual and physical, and several modular topics were being discussed, including the topics. Okay? Another initiative that being developed now by our bank is the Climate Smart Agri. This is a collaborative effort with IFC that involves players to strengthen the capacity of farmers and assure better and climate-resilient harvest with consideration to environmental risks by including technical experts and suppliers of water waste management equipment, biodigester for livestock, and trainings of how to reduce methane emission in crops production, and others. So this project is still ongoing up to now. And to discuss the collaboration between one institution to another in our card MRI, the BDSFI support program, such as the product development, the linkaging of our clients to another, and the enhancement of their production to crew capacity building. Some of the interventions were the logistics support, like, for example, we tapped the delivery van of 7-Eleven, and we go to our agri-producer and buy their produce and use this vehicle for backloads and bring this produce to other areas in the country or to our other clients who are buying these types of products. And also, they are linkaging these clients from P2P or P2B, wherein this product were also produced. We are also developing this application, what we call the Agri-Libre. Applications being developed to help out the farmers determine what suitable crops to produce by considering weather condition, price trend, and size of farm through Droid Survey app and using geofencing made to determine the exact location of the farm. So also this is now being developed, and hopefully this will be useful to our clients. And lastly, one of the benefits that's being enjoyed by our clients to our support services is the Barangay Micro Business Entrepreneur, which allows our clients to have an exemption on tax, minimum wage, and have an access to business development services from government agencies such as TESDA, DOST, and others. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry. First, I think that CARD SME Bank has done a lot of activities in the Philippines to help the government reduce their poverty in especially the local communities. I saw that you have owned a lot of what we call a company chain, insurance, hospital, education, etc., that they can support each other. They provide a lot of services to the communities. Thank you very much for your insightful information. Now, furthermore, I would like to invite Mr. Oleg, Julius, Kobiakov to give presentation. He's from the FAO and the United Nations. Please, the floor is yours.
So much, Chair. Good afternoon. Light is so bright that I don't see actually how many of you are in the room, but I suppose many enough to keep this discussion going, and I hope our presentation would inspire you to think over the issues we're discussing now and to questions, at least one per speaker. Please put me in an equal condition with others, so put off the time countdown, because I feel it unjust that I don't have a countdown going on. Thank you so much. So, I represent FAO, which is a specialized agency of United Nations dedicated to agriculture, and understand food agriculture not only as plant production livestock, but also as all branches of forestry, fisheries, and rural development. FAO is the highest represented UN agency because we boast of 195 member states, one member organizations, two observer nations, which is more than our biggest brother, the United Nations itself. And we're 1 week older than the United Nations, being founded back in 1945 on October 16, which is celebrated since as World Food Day, and the United Nations Charter came into force only 1 week later, October 24. And the main purpose of FAO is to assure the world free of hunger. And unfortunately, throughout 77 years of our existence, we have not scored much on that, because almost 1 billion people, more exact 828 million, according to FAO statistic of last year, are going hungry every day. 1 more billion is suffering from other forms of malnutrition, such as nutrients, vitamins deficiency, anemia, and overnutrition. All in all, 3 billion people cannot afford a healthy diet. Additional 1 billion would join their ranks if a shock reduced their income by third. Last year we had a UN summit on food systems, a very representative gathering of world leaders in New York within the framework of high-level UN General Assembly week. And the notion of food systems goes together with transport system, because out of 5 calories we consume, 2 cross at least one international border. 1 calorie out of 5 cross 2 international borders. And today, food primarily is not consumed where it is produced. It has to be transported via large distances to reach their destination, their consumers. And each of us is a food consumer, so we actually represent all population of the earth, which reached the 8 billion mark last December. And agri-food systems are very complex, starting from the production, spreading to procession, then to wholesale, to retail, and to consumption in public places, restaurants, and in households. And transport and logistics play a fundamental role in ensuring transport of food commodities, raw foods, processed foods, and food products to the consumer throughout the whole of this chain. FAO in 2021 analyzed resilience food transport network in 90 countries, representing 7 billion people. And we established that low-income countries face the biggest challenges in applying System 1 resilience measures. And out of those countries, many are situated in our region of Asia and Pacifics. And recent happenings, recent developments in international life, such as COVID-19 pandemics, which we has not overcome, at least its consequences yet, though WHO declared it closed now. Armed conflicts showed that physical infrastructures that ensure international trade, connectivity, and measures by governments to keep the international transport channels open are vitally important to provision of food availability in all the regions, in all countries, and inside countries, in different parts of those countries. And food systems are extremely resilient, and member nations and international organisms were inventive in adopting such steps that enabled food chains and transport food chains function efficiently, even the grimmest COVID pandemic's hours. For example, International Maritime Organization call on governments to consider seafarers and marine personnel as key workers providing essential service and exempt them from movement restrictions. China, which is famous for its closest, toughest quarantine measures, opened a green channel for fresh agricultural products and expanded e-delivery platforms to resolve logistical challenges and prevent potential risk of infection from visiting crowded food markets. The main building blocks of Asia-Pacific cooperation for connectivity are international legal instruments included under the roof of SCAP. Those are Intergovernmental Agreement on Asian Highway Network, Agreement on Trans-Asia Railway Network, and Agreement on Dry Ports, and Regional Strategic Framework on Facilitation of Regional Road Transport, as well as Agreement on Paperless Trades. And we commend work done by United Nations, ESCAP, also the Inland Transport Committee of the Economic Commission for Europe, and given that today we are at the very authoritative meeting of International Financial Institute, I point out to the need to provide adequate financing and investment of international transport networks that largely transport, among other commodities, transport food and foodstuffs and finished food products. And at the end of my short presentation, I want to point out to a very acute problem, which is solved, we would really drastically improve the food situation, because the world produces enough food for everyone. The tricky part is to transport it safely and to distribute. And if we consider such a phenomena as food loss and waste, then globally around 14 or 1% or 1/8 of all food produced is lost between harvest and retail. And transport could do a lot to reduce that waste, and its seamless functioning, its simplification of custom clearance procedures, introduction of a single transport consignment paper, physical improvement of transport infrastructure, introducing freezing chains that are state-of-the-art in all the country, especially in producers, because most of the producing countries are developing countries lacking vital infrastructure actually at the beginning of food chain. Those measures would drastically improve food situation. As we have not liquidated hunger yet, and we're not on the way to reach the zero hunger goal by 2030, as provided for by Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by all member nations in 2015. But anyhow, we've laid a foundation of a sustainable development, agri-food transport chains, of agri-food production and consumption in such a way that that goal will be attainable and it will be reached, and would allow us to develop peacefully and fruitfully along all other tracks to assure happy life for all humanity. Спасибо за внимание.
Thank you. Thank you, Oleg, for sharing the information. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Martin Naegele from the AIIB to share the information on the financing infrastructure. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can I have the presentation?
Please.
Distinguished guests and speakers, colleagues, friends, good afternoon. I'm excited to be here in beautiful Almaty today with you. I would like to thank the organizers, the AD AFAIP, and the Eurasian Development Bank for these very good sessions. I would like to turn a little bit back to infrastructure and logistics. I think Oleg showed very well the challenges that we see on the agri side, the food side. At the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, we are by mandate focusing on infrastructure. So when we look at challenges, for instance, in food security, our main focus is the underlying infrastructure. So let me briefly introduce AIIB. As a very new multilateral development bank with a mission to foster economic growth in Asia and beyond by filling the multi-trillion infrastructure investment gap, our infrastructure investments and investments in related productive sectors all support green infrastructure with sustainability, innovation, and connectivity at the core. While benefiting from very high shareholder support from 106 members across the globe, our preferred creditor status, and a AAA rating, we adapt and innovate constantly to deliver the best tailored investment solutions to address the toughest challenges that our clients face today. Despite the impact of the pandemic over the past 3 years, AIB has made very strong progress in building our portfolio. As of today, we have approved 216 projects with a total of USD 41 billion for both sovereign and non-sovereign lending operations. Our mandate is very specific on connectivity, and in particular, cross-border connectivity. Economic corridors are at the heart of the opportunity to connect infrastructures in various domestic markets. And they are of critical importance to strengthening not just regional economic integration, but more importantly, to realize the economic growth potential that lies in regions like here in Central Asia. In 2020, AIB adopted its first corporate strategy with connectivity and regional cooperation and integration as one of the 3 thematic priorities. Our bank prioritizes projects that connect vital infrastructure and economies that are currently not linked sufficiently within national borders, across domestic borders, and in between Asia and the rest of the world. AIB's promotion of regional cooperation complements infrastructure connectivity by expanding opportunities, strengthening links between economies, and providing supplementary non-economic benefits. Our bank's investment focus on 5 broad priority areas in this sector. Let me just highlight those. Trunk linkages, cross-border connectivity, transport integration, energy pools, digital infrastructure, and urban infrastructure. Progress on this front has been made in more than 30 projects with a total of up to 7 billion to date. The concept of the shift from transport corridors to integrated economic corridors is very much what we're doing at the bank. At this moment, the case for global collaboration, for multilateral approach to solving the strongest, the most pressing needs is really where we all have to take the step to continue rebooting global growth. And we do support a growing coalition of voices calling for more collaboration. As an infrastructure investment-oriented multilateral development bank, AIB is proactively adding value to this goal through investing together with our financing partners in economic corridors across the globe. I would like to highlight one project that I think shows very well where the infrastructure on a cross-regional scale drives economic growth, innovation, and furthers economic development. I'm talking about a project that is done out of China. It's the Zhangzhou International Logistics Hub. It is the center of the China-Europe block trades. During the pandemic, it played a stabilizing role in international supply chains, and ever since has seen exponential growth, and we see a lot more to come. Our financing will further enhance the trade connectivity across the Eurasian landscape and integrate supply chains in between China, Central Asia, and Europe through the expansion and the increase in efficiency of freight activities, including multimodal cold storage, parallel vehicle imports facilities, bonded logistics centers, and the upgrade of the underlying digital systems. Last but not least, I want to just give you a bit of an overview of what we are doing in terms of connectivity projects across Asia. I would like in particular to highlight the fact that the project that you see on the right, on the top, the Dushanbe-Uzbekistan border road, was the second project that the bank approved in 2016. So Central Asia is very much at the heart of our activities, and with several roads in Uzbekistan, in Georgia, and in many other countries across Asia, we are showing that our interconnectivity mandate is really what drives our activities. And we hope to do a lot more together with our financing partners, our government clients, and of course also our non-sovereign clients through PPPs in transport and logistics. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin, for sharing the role of the AIIB in supporting the sovereign and non-sovereign project in the regions, and also present of the case study on the logistic hub in Zhengzhou of China as well. So this is a good case that we should learn for. For others, I don't want to talk much on that, but I would like to invite Mr. Techum Chin Lokha Suren from the Development Bank of Mongolia to do the presentation, please. We thought that you are not coming, but finally you can make the trip here.
All right, thank you, Chair. Dear colleagues and distinguished guests, I will be presenting the transport and logistics cases in Mongolia. And before moving into the sector-wise, let me just briefly cover a few slides on the bank itself. So I'm representing the Development Bank of Mongolia, which is the only policy bank in Mongolia, 100% owned by the state. And as a 100% state-owned entity, we are rated as same as the sovereign. Currently, we have a total assets of roughly $1 billion worth of assets. Well, because of COVID, the past few years were quite tough for the bank.
Near the mic, please.
Okay.
They cannot hear.
Yeah, it wasn't easy for the bank for the past few years. So last year, our main accomplishment was actually dealing with our problemed assets, I should mention over here. And then because of this, the bank operations are currently being back to normal. And by that, let me just move on to the current status of the transport and logistic projects in Mongolia. So as a policy bank, the only policy bank in Mongolia, we've been out there for 12 years. We've been established in 2011. And ever since we've been established, we've been always part of this so-called large-scale development projects in Mongolia. As part of it, it does include both logistics and transport projects. So if you look at the projects we've implemented in the past, it basically is can be divided into two subcategories. Either it's in the capital city projects or it's in the rural area of the country. Because as you understand, Mongolia is landlocked country between Russia and China. We have a vast, big land to be connected by transports and logistics. So just for example, the projects we've implemented in the past, we had this project called Street Project in the early years, trying to solve this traffic jam issues in the capital city itself. And following to that, we had several highway projects as well as local road projects. By doing it, so we connected all the major cities in the country, connected to the capital city, and as well as that, we had a couple of highway projects as part of it. And next part of projects are, as a policy bank, we are the main financier when it comes to aircraft transport logistics issues. And since 2017, well, as I've said, as a country landlocked between two big nations and a country with a lot of resources when it comes to mining and agriculture, the main sectors we currently focus are mining, agriculture, energy, and infrastructure. And as part of this main sectors, there are other sectors we do finance as part of our operation, is basically the sectors on the right side. So moving on to the future projects, the ongoing projects in Mongolia, we currently have this so-called new revival or new recovery policy being implemented in Mongolia. This is a medium-term development plan until 2030. And the main objective of this policy itself is a kind of economic recovery policy paper that's trying to grow the GDP as well as GDP per capita roughly by 3 times by the year of 2030. And by doing it so, it will improve our human development index as well as our livingness of the general public in Mongolia. So the policy itself is basically focused on 6 subsectors. And as you can see on the slide, port dependency and as well as this so-called rural development is one of the 2 sectors outlined in the main sector. So going back into our main topic during this panel session, I'll be mainly focusing the projects are within these 2 subsectors. So first project we are currently trying to implement over in Mongolia is trying to improve the airport projects. So in Mongolia, as I've said, we have a capital city, which only the capital city has an international airport over there. All the major cities has its own local airports, but it's not fully developed to international standards of receiving tourists or having this international flight. So currently we are implementing this improvements or upgrades of the airports. Secondly, we have a number of border ports with China and Russia, but when it comes to actually using these borders, 90% of our exports and imports are done through these 2 main ports, which 2 ports are connected by this main railway, which we had for the past century or so. So in order to improve our trade turnover, improving this border port projects are very essential. And by improving this border ports, we have to connect it with railway projects. So third part of the projects are improving the railway network. And the last and the least project is the road projects to be improved in the country. So in order to show you this project, I just put up this slide over here. This shows the main transport and logistics network as of current, as well as the so-called projects that I've mentioned. By doing this or successfully implementing this project, we'll be having this sort of main logistics and transport mapping in Mongolia. So if you look over there, the gray ones are the current status ones, and the most highlighted ones are the blue, as well as this pink ones are the ones we are trying to implement. So as I've said, I'll be focusing on these two subsectors. So on the urban and rural recovery side, we have this certain road projects as well as decentralization of the capital city. As you can see over there, within the capital city itself, almost half of the population is currently living. So decentralizing is a major issue over there. And the other thing is providing certain subsidized loans to the rural parts of the country is another policy mandate we're trying to implement as of current. On the last slide, I just wanted to put out the other projects within the other sub-4 sectors. As I've said, mining is a crucial sector when it comes to Mongolia. 90% of our total experts are in the mining sector. So by developing this transport and logistic projects, on one hand, it will improve us or help us to expand our mining businesses. At the same time, you probably understand we do have a lot of livestock in Mongolia. If you divide the total livestock to the total population, I think we are in #1 in the world. So we do have a lot of resources when it comes to agricultural projects. So by helping us to improve the logistics and transport as well as this port issues, the other sectors can further be developed following to this project. On the last one, this is an ongoing project at the bank. We are currently financing from the bank side. Well, as I've said, we do have a vast majority of livestock in Mongolia. So using this livestock and products from the livestock, we do have certain projects that we also developed. Just showing you a case study over here. All right, that brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Temujin. You share a lot of information to us today. It seems that your bank get involved with many projects in Mongolia, starting from the port, airport, agricultures, and urban infrastructure. That's a lot of information that you can see here. But before I start the Q&A session, I would like to thank all the speakers today that come to share all information and project showcase everything today. And before we come to the Q&A, I would like to ask the audience, please, to give the applause all to our speaker before we start the Q&A. I think before the audience can pose the question, I would like to pose one question to our hosts today. I would like to ask Mr. Ruslan, can you mentioned that the key investment project in your report. Why are you called this like this? How do you determine your priorities, and what kind of study have you been conducted?
Thank you very much for your question. Why do we call our projects key investment mega projects? Yes, we say key projects because they are the main element of our strategy, of the bank. They are important for the governments of the member countries of the bank, and they aim to improve people's lives. And they are mega, because the investment needs are very high, very huge. Cooperation is required since no financial institution alone is able to finance such projects in full. Also, these projects are cross-border projects. There are the cross-border questions that require coordination between all the countries, between all the members, by all parties involved. We did the special studies about these themes. We conducted 3 researches about water and energy, food security, and transport infrastructure. We identified the challenges, the goals, the financial needs, and we identified the key projects that should be financed within the 5 years and within the 20 or 30 years period. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruslan. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to pose another question to our speaker here. Anyone can pick up the question before we start. Allow the audience to ask the question. Second question is, how does your institution participate in the equation of promoting infrastructure development to support the social and economic community development? How do you contribute? Would you mind to share the previous project that you have implemented? Any speaker can pick up. Maybe Martin, you would like to elaborate a little bit on this? Or you want me to repeat the question again?
That would be great.
How does your institutions participate in the equation of promoting infrastructure development to support the social and economic community development?
I think many of these infrastructure projects, particularly the ones that are crossing borders, that have multiple governments involved, require very strong collaboration and upstream project development support. And that's something that I think within Asia is crucial. We have too many examples of roads that are built domestically, that have border crossings, but where the soft infrastructure and sometimes also part of the hard infrastructure is not up to the task, and therefore we see inefficiencies in those interconnections. If you take electricity, you have a very similar picture. Oftentimes the domestic transmission lines are very well developed, but when it comes to cross-border transmission, then you see gaps and inefficiencies. And I think in this area, a lot of collaboration among the developers, the financiers, and of course, the governments are required.
Thank you, Martin. I have another question, if you may allow, please. I would like to ask to Mujin. When I think your bank involved a lot of project implementations, so do you encounter any challenge in implementing the initiative? What have you done to resolve it?
Okay. Thank you, Chair. So, for the question, I think I should agree with the two fellow panelists who just mentioned, when it comes to this infrastructure projects, especially logistic projects, it's very capital intensive. So no single financial institution, especially for a cross-border projects, it's quite difficult to finance this very capital intensive project. And from the bank side, what we've experienced during this COVID period was we have built 2 main railway projects during this COVID period because most of the countries were closed. So domestically, what we've done during this period was to finance this so-called very capital intensive railway projects. On one hand, it does help us on the expert side and further projects, but the main challenge which brought to us was, since it was very capital intensive, it did affect the reserves of the country significantly. So that should be one of the main constraints when it comes to infrastructure projects.
Thanks. Jerry, you have anything to share? You encounter any challenge in implementing your project?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Actually, our bank is maybe not yet involved in big infrastructure project funding because Card SME Bank as a thrift bank focuses mainly on its clients, especially those on the outskirts, SMEs, no, or the agri-sectors especially. The challenges right now in our country is, well, previously Philippines is considered to be an agri-nation. No? We are exporting rice and other agri-produce, but now it's, we are now exporting from other countries. So, but still the government pursue to develop this, and we as a non-government organization plays an important role as a catalyst and enabler by not providing not only loans but technical and capacity building services. So it should be bundled. No? It should not be funds alone in order to empower these clients, these agri-sectors. And the challenges right now is that there are farmers who still don't want to get along with the innovations, these traditional farmers. So it's up to us to how to change their mindset and put them into innovations. No? So this capacity building activities helps a lot because we include along the project some of the institutions like ours and external as part of the supply and value chain so that it will be a complete package. So there we could expect a more inclusive and sustainable growth and ensure food security in the future. So maybe that's, I think, what could be contributed, especially by a bank. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. I wonder with our friend from FAO and share some thought on the food security linked to the infrastructure development.
Thank you. Well, generally, in the work of any
Can you put the mic near?
Yeah, in the work of any international organism which is mandated to work out general rules, recommendations, policies, declare international days and decades. The tricky part is to assure ownership of this or that process by your counterpart. And because you might invent whatever excellent product, you must sell it to those who will implement. I'll give you one short example. This year was declared by the United Nations upon FAO initiative, International Year of the Millet. So millet are small edible grains. In Russian it's prosa, a different name, psheno и prosa, well, which leads sometimes to confusion. Thanks God in English it's millets as commodity and millets as a final project. And those of you who are coming from India and Pakistan, countries of Africa, know very well what millet is. So the tricky part was to promote millet in my host country, which is Russian Federation, and which used to produce some 2 million tons of millet annually. And now, back in 1990, 1991, the last year of the USSR existence, now that production dwindled tenfold. So millets remain a favorite food product, especially for kids in kindergarten schools. So we helped to set up a national committee for the Year of the Millet, combining lawmakers, local governments, producers, food retail chains. And the tricky part for me is to get the television chefs, who are very popular but difficult to exceed, but still we've just finalized that committee, and I had a short meeting with one of the largest food retail chain who promised to have an advertisement campaigns, to print out leaflets, to make sales on the millet. So that's it. You assure ownership and you're in for success, and that's what we are trying to do. And also give a crisp, clear message. Do not say we have 20 strategic objectives, each of one subdivide into 12 goals. Each goal has 25 indicators. In FAO, our Director General, Dr. Tsu, now formulated in 4 betters: better production, better consumption, better environment, and better life for everybody. That's what I wish all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I think we ran out of time already. I think we should have a question from our audience today. If you have, you can raise your hand and then you pose a question to any of our speaker here. If you have, please, gentleman over there.
Mr. Moderator, we have time only for one question,
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
only one question.
Colleagues, thank you for interesting section. It seems that food loss and waste also poses a significant problem for Central Asia. If I may ask colleagues, maybe from FAO, to elaborate a little bit, how could this problem be approached on the infrastructure part or any other policies that can support reduction of food loss and waste? Thank you.
Okay, if I may take this one. Yes, of course, as for a group of countries with hot climate, with great distances, with inadequate so far infrastructure between, including transport, remote areas and urban areas, it is important to invest in transport, invest in production facilities, so the more products are processed and conserved at the production site, the easier they will be transported. Is, of course, one of the key dimensions is to enhance cooperation between the countries of the region, to boost up export capacity, to promote the products inside, to assure education of population starting from school and kindergartens, to allow access to markets of all kinds of producers, starting with the farmers, with smallholders, and ending by huge production and retail chains, and to assure affordable credit and incentive schemes, especially for the smallholder farmers, because in the Central Asia countries, they are the mainstay of agricultural sectors. That's about 3-4 key steps I would have taken in this. And I wish you all the success in doing that, because much has been achieved so far, and many good steps and reforms and actions are being done with the help of financial institutions present here.
Thank you, Mr. Oleg. Now our session 3 come to an end. But before we end here, I would like to give 1 minute to each speaker. If you have any takeaway note, please come. If you don't have, we can end the session soon. Please start from Martin, if you have.
Yeah, thank you. I want to refer not just to this session, but to the morning session with our distinguished speakers. I think what we are seeing across these discussions is that there needs to be a lot more integration and collaboration across various sectors. If you take today's setup of a typical government, oftentimes several ministries across various responsibilities have to collaborate. And the same is true for financing institutions. So I think this is a very good discussion that we had today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would add to that the necessity of enhanced cooperation between member states and the international institutions that they are part of, because international organisms do not have an agenda of its own. They follow what their member states and constituent members tell them to do. So let us use more effectively and efficiently those channels of international cooperation that exist and create new ones when it is necessary.
Thanks. Thierry, yeah, please. turn on your mic, President.
Hi. So I think the key word here is collaboration. Because, food security really is an issue that we should address as early as now. And it cannot be done only by one or one department or one institution alone. It should be a collaborative effort, especially with the government and non-government organization, in order to empower the producers or the farmers, not only the farmers but their community, and create a a value chain that would support the food supply. And I think it should be considered or have a balanced consideration between the geographic locations of our farmers, because if there will be so much supply, the price suffers, the rule of economy. So it should be considered, and this can be done by the use of technology to assist, and enabled by different agencies and organizations, but they have to work together for this to happen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sherry. I think our session come to end today. Now, again, thank you very much for our speaker to have to share a wonderful experience on importance of transport and logistics. I would like to end our panel discussion here. Thank you very much, and please give applause to our speaker again.
Thank you so much, our distinguished guests, dear speakers, and Mr. Moderator.